welcome back
Yeah,
to
baby.
Roll with the Troll. Hey, this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I know, you say it all the time.
Of all time.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 10.
From time immemorial until now.
Yes.
This is one of your favorites.
This is one of the greatest films in history. I don't mean one of the greatest Rocky films. I don't mean one of the greatest sports films. I mean, this is one of the greatest and most underrated films in all of history, and I am not kidding.
Yeah.
Fucking love it.
He's not kidding.
No, let's dive right in. Listen, since I was a little kid, I remember seeing this on TV.
Yeah.
And I was captivated as a little kid. And I remember my dad, who's not brilliant, he referred to this as a boxing movie. He goes, I never really cared about boxing movies.
Yeah.
And I remember as a little kid, I said something like, well, it's not really a boxing movie. I mean, there's boxing in it, but it's about a man's life and his struggles.
Right.
And my dad goes, nah, it's a boxing movie. What a dumbass. Anyway, look, this movie did exactly what a sequel needed to do, especially a second sequel.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the time, this really should have been the end of a trilogy, right? Like, I think of the Rocky series as 2 trilogies.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
I think of it as pre-retirement and then essentially post-retirement for the most part.
Yes.
Now, Rocky 3 was incredible because they did exactly what you have to do. You had to go bigger than Rocky 2. So
Yeah.
what did they do? They got a villain who was badder than Apollo, bigger than Apollo,
Yeah.
more confident than Apollo.
If that's even possible.
You wouldn't think so, but he's more
But there it
confident
is.
than Apollo. More menacing than Apollo.
Yeah.
More intimidating than Apollo, right? I mean, they really did it in giving you a villain that was badder than Apollo in every way, that was more intimidating. Fucking spot on. Mr. T never did a film before.
All right.
Never did a movie,
That's
and he did.
so crazy.
This is your first outing. You go out there.
Yeah.
He killed it.
He did.
People don't really give him credit as an actor. Fuck those people. Mr. T is an incredible actor. Really, I mean, really, like, come on. But was that easy to act like this?
No, he was great in this
He
film.
was so convincing. My God, he's incredible. I don't know that he's Carl Weathers level, but he's really incredible. I love him in this role. I think he is the perfect villain. He's up there. You want to talk villains, you guys? He's up there with like Darth Vader. You know, seriously, he's a fucking villain. What a villain. Anyway, so right off the bat, they did everything right in this film. Don't you think, Voice of Reason?
I do, yes.
I mean, I know they wanted to have, instead of the theme being Eye of the Tiger, they wanted to have Another One Bites the Dust by Queen.
Really?
Yeah, which is so odd because I thought in this patriarchal, horrible society, we hate gay people. But yet in this very testosterone-ridden film,
They wanted
we were
to
more
use
than
a song by Queen.
Wanted to open up with one of the gayest men to ever exist. And the runner-up was an Elton John song. No, I'm kidding. That's not true.
Okay.
But so what's funny is Stallone really wanted that song. He really wanted Another One Bites the Dust. He thought it was perfect. And I could see why. I could see why that'd be fitting.
Sure, yeah.
But wow, this worked out serendipitously.
Yeah.
Way better to have this one, right?
The Survivor tune, much better.
It really...
Even better. I shouldn't say much better, but even better.
I'd say much better. I think, although I can see where he was coming from with Another One Bites the Dust, Another One Bites the Dust has got like a little bit of a sarcastic thing to it. Like, it's funny and it's sort of like, and another one, you know, it's a very like kind of cheesy, good time kind of thing. I don't think that works as an intro to this fucking great movie. Eye of the Tiger is intense. It is intense and it's dramatic.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie's so perfect. It is perfect top to bottom. So we find out that Rocky's had these 10 title defenses ever since he was able to beat Apollo.
Right.
And we see these title defenses, and I feel like that montage is the perfect way to just kind of hurry up and catch you up to speed.
Yeah.
I think a lot of films would have not given you the montage. They would have just started the film. Maybe Rocky beats somebody, and then they just kind of casually mention, yeah, this is your 10th title defense.
Right.
Maybe some asshole on the news says it. This was better. You got to kind of live them each just for that brief 30 seconds or so each, right?
Yeah.
So he's got 10 title defenses over 3 years. That really tells you a lot. And now here we are, and all of a sudden, he's facing the greatest opponent he's ever had to deal with. And now he's got to face down with himself and realize, like, dude, I'm actually not worthy of the credit that I've been getting these past 3 years.
Yeah, he really went through some crushing realizations in this film. It just took him to the depths.
Yeah.
And then, you know, more happened. We'll get to that. But.
Yeah. Incredible beginning to the film. Very manly. Not like I know I just reviewed Rocky and Rocky 2.
Yeah.
And I talked a lot about how Rocky's a very kind of chick flick film to me.
Yeah.
Rocky 2 starts off that way. This one, not at all. Anything.
Yeah.
Women, bitches leave.
Oh,
as
wow.
he says in RoboCop. Bitches. Remember that? I love
Yeah.
that. Bitches leave.
Yep.
And they did it
And
too.
they did.
They left like, all right.
Today's
fuck it.
women would be like, fuck you.
This guy named Clarence seems
Pardon
pretty
my French.
tough. Clarence from that 70s show. Anyway, but so Rocky 3 here, just it starts off, it's so intense right from the beginning. 30 minutes in, you already get what's going on here. You understand, like some movies take an hour just to really set themselves up. This movie, 20, 30 minutes in, you got that like Rocky's life is intense. He takes himself very seriously. He's very proud of what he's accomplished. And now it's all about to come crumbling down because of one guy.
Yeah.
One guy who's younger and hungrier and more deserving than he is.
Yes.
Holy shit. On paper, this might not have sounded like something that was going to work. I think a lot of things about this movie, in fact, not just that setup, but also the fact that, like, because it just feels like a weak sequel on paper, you know, like, oh, now a new challenger comes in and he's even badder. It's like, okay, how are we going to convey that? They conveyed it. Mr. T conveyed it, that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And then, it's funny, he's like the nicest guy in real life, too. You'd never think.
It always works out that way.
He's like Tyson. He's like kind of a sweetheart in real life, you know? Anyway, but, so then we get into this situation here. I guess I'm going through the bullet points. But we get into the situation where then they've got to make Mick not look like a bad guy, like he did anything wrong, but you got to still make Rocky kind of mad at Mick for carrying him like this, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, again, on paper, that sounds like a tough thing to do. It's like if you just read the script only, you'd kind of think, is this really going to fly? I mean, you're going to have Rocky kind of getting mad at Mick, but then again, he loves Mick like a dad, and like, are we going to be able to sell that? And Stallone wasn't the greatest actor back then. Even now, I don't know that he's that great an actor overall, but especially back then. He was still cutting his teeth, I think. And so for him to sell that, I don't think was going to be the easiest thing in the world. And then, let me tell you guys this. I was a little kid when Rocky 3 came out, okay? A little kid. So I have no idea what like the world and the ether were thinking of Rocky at that time. But I've talked to older guys, and I remember one guy told me, dude, when TV Guide, and this is really important, I think, he said when they first announced that Carl Weathers was going to be in the movie, but that he was going to be Rocky's new trainer, he goes, I just cringed. I'm like, why are you trying to force him? So because he's a great actor, you're trying to force him into the film, but he doesn't belong in the film. That's how people saw it. And when TV Guide and whoever else reported that at the time, when older guys told me, some of you let me know in the comments what you thought, because I know some of you guys are a little bit older than I am. But my understanding is that people were thinking, oh, this is going to be a shit show. And remember, back then, a part 3 was never really good, right? You didn't really have any good part 3s yet.
You didn't have high expectations, no.
No, not really. So it really seemed to people like this is not a good idea. And look what a great idea it turned out to be. I could see where on paper, Apollo becoming Rocky's trainer seemed like, oh, come on. You're just trying to force him into the movie.
It feels a little crowbar.
Doesn't it? It's like, how are you going to explain that? They did it perfectly.
It worked.
No, they fucking nailed it. Are you kidding me? It was so believable to me. As soon as Apollo shows up, the first thing you hear him say, not when you first see him in the movie, but once he shows up at Mick's, and he goes, that's not how you do it. Remember that? The first thing he does is start criticizing Rocky. Oh my God, I love it. I love the motivation they gave Apollo. I love that Clubber Lang was such an asshole to Apollo.
Yeah.
When that happens, don't you just want to, like get through the TV and attack Clubber yourself?
Yeah.
It's like, get out of here, fool. It's like, don't be messing in my corner. Motherfucker. He came up to be nice to your fucking, oh my Lord. Clubber Lang is the greatest villain. He is the greatest villain. And if he does make his way into Creed 3, because I know that was a rumor for a while, if he actually makes his way into Creed 3, as much as that might feel kind of forced, I'll be just so happy to see him again.
That'd be fun.
But that's a side note. We'll find out in a couple months. So anyway, guys, Rocky 3, home run. I love this movie so much. It's so much fun. It doesn't have so much darkness to it that you can't throw it in any time. It's not like Daredevil. We're like, I love Daredevil, but it's so heavy that you can't just put it on over like breakfast. It's like, no, it's going to dampen my day.
Yeah.
And then you can't put it on before bed. It's like, no, I'm going to go to bed not feeling good. It's like Daredevil is so dark. And a lot of movies I love are that dark and that heavy. I'm talking about the TV show Daredevil, not the Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hope that's clear. But Rocky 3 is almost like Cobra Kai in the way that even when it goes dark, it still has a level of levity to it, and you can still just enjoy it even during some of the dark parts. Speaking of which, Mickey's death. Oh my God.
Yeah, that is what I was alluding to earlier.
Heartbreaking.
Yes.
Every time I see it, it rattles me. And I have seen this movie a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Stallone has seen it as many times as I have.
Probably not.
I'm not kidding. Like, there's no way. I've seen this movie so many damn times.
Yeah.
I just, in my 20s, I remember busting it out every couple of months. Where I'm just like, I got to see Rocky 3 again. And I'd put it on and just sit there and just love every second.
Mm-hmm.
It's so motivating. And yet they really drop you down when that scene on the beach where he says to Adrian, where he says, how did everything that was so good get so bad?
Yeah.
That also breaks my heart every time.
It does, yeah.
And when he's trying to run with Apollo and he doesn't even have the spirit to keep going.
Right.
And Apollo's like, what's wrong with you, man? Come on. Oh my God.
Yes.
The characters in this movie feed off each other perfectly. Perfectly. Even little things like the fact that Paulie and Apollo don't like each other at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, it's like a very, very, very minor subplot that just gets weeded out.
Yeah.
And then Mick was always kind of anti-Adrian because, Dame's sort of like weakened knees or whatever. He was like, and that whole thing. And then that's, she loves him. He loves her. There's a lot of love in this movie between the characters.
Yeah. You can see all of these characters. They've really formed a family of sorts.
Yeah, exactly. And that makes me that much more invested in what's going on in this film and at this point in the Rocky universe. So,
yeah, when he loses Mick, I mean, you say he's not that great of an actor. In that scene, I weep. No matter how many times I've seen this movie, in the scene where he loses Mick, I am brought to tears because he's not just crying over Mick's body, he's wailing, and it just guts me. It was so well done. You can't see his face, his head is down, but it's the sound and the visual that is going with it. It just guts me every single time.
No, I agree. Look, I like Stallone as an actor,
yeah.
But I'm aware that he's not at Carl Weathers level. He's not. Carl Weathers, I think, is amazing in these films. He's
Carl
just
Weathers
amazing.
makes the whole thing look so easy.
Yeah, he does. And I love Stallone as an actor, but I also do realize it's kind of got to be just these few roles that he seems to do, right? So roles that relate to him. But I don't care. I love Stallone insanely, even despite Rocky versus Drago, which was absolute garbage. See our review on that, on the recut of Rocky 4. So anyway, what else was so great about this film? God, there were so many things. To make you believe that Stallone, that Rocky really had just lost all hope in himself. That was a really tough thing to do. I don't think that was going to play terribly well on screen, and they nailed it. They just nailed it. And the poor guy was on no carbs. He was living on just caffeine during the whole production of this movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't make it no carbs.
Yeah, I know. I mean, to think he had to direct, he had to act, he was making last minute changes to the script, and he's telling people what to do, and he's got no carbs.
And
he's
keep himself cut.
Oh my God, just crazy. So yeah, super good. The fight at the end and the fight in the middle, both, I think were incredible.
I love that this film, you get 2 boxing matches out of it.
And then you get his fight with Hulk Hogan, and you get the montage at the beginning.
It's like a lot of fighting.
And that's what I mean about all the testosterone and the sperm in this movie.
Jeez,
is that
no
there's so, well, there might have been. There's so many, there's just so many times that you do really get action.
Yeah.
And the action is so dramatic too.
Yeah. And you get right into it. There's no long build up where you're spending the entire movie watching him train, and then you get your fight at the end. It's fight after fight after fight.
Yeah, this is totally the best Rocky film to me.
Yeah.
4 is close, but this is my favorite. And also, that thing, I'll compare it to 4 real quick. 4, and we'll talk about that soon when we review it. 4 is like a 90-minute short film. There's no subplots. It just comes right in and happens. And
then outdone.
Yeah, over and done with. This film does have subplots, and it really takes its time like the first 2 films do. He's in no rush in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think one of the best scenes is when he walks into Apollo's place, all those guys, all the boxers stop and just stare at him.
Yeah.
And then later they're just hugging him and they're loving on him and everything. And it's like, scenes like that could have easily been cut out of the film, but I think they made this film awesome. And I'm glad he didn't keep the kind of tempo that he went on to have in Rocky 4. So anyway, guys, look. Let us know what you think. I really want to open up some conversation. We might review this fucker again soon. Yeah, like and subscribe. Click the bell. YouTube doesn't always let you guys know, even if you're subscribed, because we curse and stuff, and they don't like that. So please click the bell. Do all that shit. We'll see you guys in the comments, and we'll certainly see you tomorrow.